When you start your agency, the toughest thing to do is to survive the first 2 years. Here's my tips on how you can make sure that you are one of the few that actually do survive. Starting an agency is great. Great way to make money, great lifestyle, great way to learn a lot because you get to work with lots of awesome different clients, different industries, different people, and you learn a lot of new skills, a lot of new things, which makes you an even better agency in the future. So it's a great thing to do, don't get me wrong. But a high percentage of agencies, like 85% plus, fail in the first 2 years. And there's a number of reasons why. One is drying up of work. 2 is not being able to get the right teams to be able to deliver consistently. And 3 is just cash flow issues. It's hard starting a business. You get your first tax bills, you haven't probably catered for them, etc. Your cash flow goes out the window and you haven't got anything to fall back on. So there's a number of things that can go wrong. So here's my tips. So the first year of an agency, particularly the first 6 months, are normally great. You live off your network and your goodwill and your previous clients from old roles and all those sorts of things to pick up lots of work fast, which is awesome, obviously. So you start really fast. And what a lot of people do is then they overhire or overspend. So it's good to get good spend controls in from day one. Making sure you've not got loads of subscriptions going out. They're going to cost you thousands a month that you don't really need. Making sure you're not bloated on headcount. It's obviously exciting getting new people into the business. It makes you feel like you're growing. It's good credibility, all that sort of stuff. But, don't overspend to the point where if a few clients leave, you're in big trouble. And you also don't want to be firing someone every time a client leaves. That's not good for morale and culture either. So think about those sorts of things. Think about, obviously, your cash flow management, getting accountancy in place, getting controls in place, all of that slightly boring stuff for kind of creative, growth-minded people like us, but it needs to be done. The kind of other big area is, like, client acquisition really solves all problems, ultimately. If you acquire good clients at high-paying rates, then you're less likely to get a cash flow issue as long as they're paying you on time. You're less likely to have staff issues because you can pay bigger wages, get, in theory, better people. Obviously, it doesn't always work that way. And you've got more resources to get things done. So that is the number one thing. If you get that right, you're probably going to survive. So as I say, the first few months, you get a lot of word of mouth, in my experience, get a lot of, you go to new networking groups, you meet new people, and that's all great. Should always start well. The hardest part is maintaining that and then kind of scaling that growth because your network will run out eventually. Like, there's only so many people that can send you work that you know. And then you need to be finding clients in a sustainable, reliable way, in a cost-friendly manner outside of that on an ongoing basis forever. So you need to find what channels work for you, whether it's YouTube videos, whether it's Google Ads, whether it's attending networking events around the world, whether it's going to conferences and sponsoring them, whatever it might be. You need to kind of test everything at a small enough level to not break the bank, but at enough of a level where you've actually tested it properly to see if it works. What my agency used to do was a combination of all those things. We found that targeting companies that we wanted to, like having a hit list, finding problems with them, finding things that their competitors were doing we could talk about, that worked really well and kind of gave us a sustainable tranche of leads to go after constantly. Conferences would do one a quarter probably, and that kind of always would bring in at least one big client that would kind of keep things moving along. But we also ran a lot of ads locally and things like that. So we did a bit of a mixture of everything, but obviously some channels worked better than others. And it all depends on your offering, your niche, your positioning, etc., as to what's going to work best for you. So I can't tell you exactly what will work best for you right now. And anyone that says they can is probably lying to you. But get that right. Test that. Happy to advise there however I can, but test that and learn what's going to work. The other key things, obviously, with that, it's all very well acquiring a lot of clients, but if you're pricing wrong, then that's not going to help. It actually makes it worse. If you are bringing a lot of clients and they're draining your resources and they're not paying you enough, or they are paying you enough, but they're not paying you on time is a common one, then that is a big issue. Cash is king in a business like this. So we would always be payment up front. I would recommend you do the same. Don't give anyone 30 days, 60 days, 90-day payment terms. They'll always stretch it. They'll always be late. And you've done the work. You're paying out for the staff costs. It's not fair on you as the agency. And I think you're totally within your rights to say, hey, we're a small business. We need to get paid. And I see so many people scared of saying that because they're worried that the client will leave them or, the client won't like them anymore. And I completely understand. But it's a transactional relationship. They're working with you and they need to pay you. And they need to pay you. Otherwise, you're just working for free. It's a hobby. So get paid up front. And it depends per agencies. I know a lot of video agencies, for example, will charge 50% up front, 50% on delivery, whatever works for you, but make sure that you are protected and you're getting paid. because otherwise that cash will drain out of your business. And even if you've got on paper and not in contracts a good business, you haven't if you haven't got the cash. So think about that quite closely. So making sure that you're controlling cash coming in, making sure you're controlling cash going out by managing kind of your expenditure, making sure that you've got the pipeline, you've got the methods to build new clients consistently. They're all really key to getting through the first 2 years. If you get through the first 2 years with all those in place, you're in a very good position to go on and scale. The kind of other part, as briefly mentioned, is the team element. So if your team isn't right, that could be a number of things. You haven't got the expertise, you haven't got the quality of people, you haven't got the right culture, but you've got great people. Any of those things can derail you. You have to have the right people in the right mindset, with the right skills, in the right combination, and in the right culture, so that they can work together to be creative, to get stuff done, and to deliver for your clients. Because if you're not, they're going to churn, and then everything you're doing at the front end of this, in terms of winning new clients, is wasted if they're leaving. As an agency, you want your clients to be with you at least 18 months, really, unless you're doing one-off projects. So you need to make sure you've got the team to deliver on that. And some of that is like skills and delivery. Some of that is having those softer skills and that EQ to manage those clients in the best way. You need a combination of all of that in the right way to make sure that your agency can survive. And you're going to do a lot of it yourself in the first, depends how fast you go, 6 months, a year of your agency, realistically. The sooner you get a team, obviously, the better for you in terms of your work-life balance and your ability to go and do other things. But yeah, you're going to take a lot on yourself. And as you hand it over, you need to make sure you delegate in the right way, you give everything over in the right way, and that your clients are serviced in the right way so that they stick around. You get all of those things right, you've got an agency that will last. But it's naturally very hard to do, and a lot of people fail. But I've seen some great examples, some people who've done it really well. Always love chatting about agencies. If you want to discuss your agency, what you're doing on any of those areas, love to chat to you about it. But if you're starting an agency and watching this, then best of luck. Strap yourself in. It's going to be a wild ride, trust me. But if you get it right, it's worth it. Thanks.